Hey, Stay, how's it going?
Hi, Adam. Pretty good. Sorry we late, everybody. We thought we had a little like syncing problem, but we're thinking of like actually planning these a few weeks ahead, so we give people even more of a heads up for what we've got in store. This is gonna be another episode of stats, and yeah, we can begin by maybe like going over our past week in both our personal and hardcover lives.
Yeah, I feel like the last couple months we've kind of been like we've been doing things kind of right as we need to, like just in time kind of um preparation for most things. So yeah, I think it's like moving to uh also something we can like market out so we can like send emails about upcoming hardcover lives. We can post it on socials ahead of time. Basically have a full like cadence of like when we're doing things and letting people know about things.
Yeah, now that you say it, it actually sounds like a great idea, and I'm wondering why we didn't do that like before this because yeah, it's episode like 56, everyone, and so it's like the 56th week we've been live over here. So yeah, maybe we should like make it into a more like I guess, predictable thing and posts about it and what we're gonna talk about, and maybe give some hints and get people excited. So yeah, that all sounds good. We're doing like
Yeah,
the custom graphics for each one, and
yeah,
we're prepping, and we've had like lots of stuff about to talk about for the past 55 lives. So
yeah. I bet there's a way on Loops to add like a different segment, which is like want to be notified about hardcover live, and then they can like opt in or opt out of that specific like channel of newsletters, and then for people that are signed up for that one, they could get notified like maybe on Monday about an episode on Wednesday or something.
yeah, that seems like a good thing to add to our. That would go under notification settings, right? So people can get notified. We do have them pretty granular right now, so if we add that, I'm guessing it would be like an extra separate email that people can either like opt in or out of.
I was even thinking about it, yeah, because right now we have like that one checkbox at the end, which is like marketing emails. So yeah, it would be like one next to that, which is like like hardcover or like yeah, what would it be? It wouldn't be like marketing emails. It would be like live events and
Yeah, like
things like that.
announcements, like team announcement. It could be the announcements because announcements could be like change logs. We could include some marketing stuff we're gonna do as well. So there's the report, which is the marketing email, but announcements would be more like not like marketing, but more like what we're doing backstage and stuff like the change log. Would that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because marketing, I don't want people to opt out just because like they don't want to feel like they're being marketed to. But even though like, even our main channel isn't really a marketing channel, like we very rarely use it for like uh I remember a couple years ago when I was launching a course on my financial blog and I was learning about like how do people launch courses and I was trying to understand the full process of like these are the emails you sent out a month before, then 3 weeks before, 2 weeks before, and then like the week of, you're sending emails like twice a day or things like that. And I'm like, wow, that like I would unsubscribe to this like 3 weeks before launch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, me too, me too. We might be outliers though. I mean, I'm seeing like a lot of people do this, and I think our threshold to like what we mark as spam is like way higher. But I think
Yeah,
that's like valid for a lot of readers on hardcover. I mean, from what I've been getting, talking to people, they are very wary of marketing. And we live in a time when books, especially like, are marketed in like 10,000 ways. If you're on social, you're getting bombarded with all sorts of stuff. Some people like didn't even want social features on hardcover because of this. They're like tired of ads, of marketing, of people like doing all that stuff. So yeah, I guess that's understandable. Maybe we
Yeah.
should like be clear, in telling people what we're actually marketing to them. I
Yeah.
hate, like, I even, because we're in this on this niche, we're subscribed to all of the emails that are coming from all the book platforms, and I'm getting lots of emails, some of which
Yeah.
I have a high tolerance of emails, but I'm getting lots and lots and lots of emails.
I've unsubscribed
So
to a couple of them, even the ones I signed up for research purposes. I'm like, maybe I should have just created a rule to like mark these as read and just hide them in case I need to
yeah,
look at them later. There's
yeah,
only there's
same.
only a couple of sites that I actually like read the emails from, and
Yeah,
those are usually either really long or more personal, or like
yeah.
give a good amount of news. Like they combine news with entertainment in interesting ways, which I think is kind of what we're trying to do with the hardcover report too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And with the emails in general, we still haven't gotten to that point where we're revising emails. But when we do, we'll probably like revise all notification emails so we make them like better, and activity emails as well about what's happening on your feed. Maybe tie them to your dashboard, so it's like similar in experience to what you'd be getting on your dashboard. So yeah, um, I guess when we do that, we could also see how better to announce Hardcover Live, because yeah, we're probably gonna do it like a whole lot longer. I mean, definitely, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this has been working out. It's been fun to also just like have this FaceTime together to like chat and figure things out, because we work so asynchronously, like in Discord. So like this is really the only time we're really talking to each other in person,
Yeah,
aside from
exactly.
like a biweekly team meeting.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm still like in awe of how this worked, and we're a very, I guess, interesting kind of startup from this point of view. Uh, but
yeah,
yeah, definitely, that's like uh, doing more with Hardcover Live.
yeah,
Definitely a good idea. So speaking about that, today we're going to talk about stats again.
yeah.
So
And before jumping into that, any what have you been up to in the last week, either hardcover or personal wise?
well, hardcover wise, I wish I could have been doing more, but basically I've been like preparing the feedback step for stats. So we're aiming to get feedback on what people want from stats. We really like putting a lot of effort into the research. So that's what I've been doing on the hardcover side, and on the personal side, discovering lots of places with baguettes. So I've been eating a lot of baguettes. I don't know if there's any French people in the chat or on Discord. Definitely tell me. But yeah, we just grab them from the boulangeries, and we're just like I'm just munching on them on the street. I don't know if that's a faux pas or if that's like allowed, but I haven't been getting any looks, so I guess that's okay. uh yeah, and running after my kid. He's walking like really like good. I
Ooh.
found out why my mouse wasn't working. So this is a working mouse, but the other one, I think the battery was draining because it's one of his favorite toys, and I think he's just like my cat in that regard, making household items his favorite toys. So he's just been like throwing it around, and I think the battery is dead because of that. So
I'm
yeah,
amazed it still works at all.
yeah. It's been through a lot. Yeah, but yeah, the battery still sits at 3%. So that's why I've been doing the past I think 3 hardcover lives without any mouse.
And
But yeah, it's fun. It's fun otherwise.
nice. We
Yeah.
we we had some baguettes last night, although they weren't. I guess they. I'm curious. I don't know if these are different types of baguettes. Like we had banh mi's, which are Vietnamese sandwiches, and they use French baguettes generally for their bread for it. I think they might have like a little bit of different flour in them or something. I'm not sure on the differences, but we have like a tradition where there's a big concert series that comes to town here in Salt Lake called the Red Butte Concert Series, which is all outdoor concerts in this arboretum, like overlooking the mountain, like backed by the mountains. And it's a BYOB and bring your own food event. So like we bring in our blankets, our chairs, and we just went and watched a band called Pink Martini just play like different world music. They they're kind of like a big bossa nova band with like 10 members, and they play songs in different languages. So I think they said they have songs in 30 different languages. So they played some
Whoa.
songs in French, some songs in Turkish and Farsi and Japanese and
Wow.
Korean. So it's a fun time.
Nice. And the banh mi is like how is the baguette? I'm curious. It was isn't banh mi like the more like the softer bread?
It's pretty soft, yeah, but I
Ah,
wonder how much
okay.
of that's from it like being like it still has like a crunch to it. So I wonder how much of it's like soft because it's like cut in half and they like load it like they scoop out some of the middle to put in the ingredients. So maybe
Yeah.
it's a little softer than a regular baguette.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, I don't think I've like had like an original banh mi ever. I might have had I don't know, fusion banh mi's or whatever, restaurants that aren't like specialized in yeah. But I think the French ones might have like a thicker crust.
Mm.
There's two. Like if you ask for regular baguettes here, you get a regular baguette, but you can ask for a tradition baguette, which is actually like with a baguette done in certain parameters. So it's a certain type of flour, certain types of like timing on how the dough rises, and that kind of stuff. So that's a separate one, and that has, I think, the only thing I noticed, it's like a bit sourish and it has a thicker crust. So yeah, that's why I was asking if the bread for banh mi is a little bit softer. But yeah, that
Interesting.
sounds great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I listened to Pink Martini like some time ago. I know they were like a very jazzy kind of thing, but I didn't know they sang in so many languages. And I thought it was like a way smaller band, like a regular jazz band, like what, 5, 6 people. But
Yeah, even bigger.
wow, okay. That sounds very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's uh it sounds like you're having a lot of fun this time does the Salt Lake like get like really lively, more lively in autumn than in summer,
I
or is
think
it
so,
like
because yeah, during the summer it gets into like 100 plus degree weather for a lot of the days. So it's normally right around now when it starts to get a little bit nicer. Like you go outside and it doesn't feel like you're being like fried to death. So
yeah.
yeah. But a lot of the time during the summer, people go out to the mountains where it's a little bit cooler. And then by fall, it's nice and cool down in the valley too.
No, that sounds good. Yeah, I was about to ask if you've been like on any other hikes, or if you're planning to like go again now that it's like a little bit chiller. Because yeah, I know that kind of temperature, and it's not like survivable outside. Maybe like in the evenings, but yeah.
Yeah, like I went for a run like last month or so, and I came back home after like I made it through the full like whatever I was running, and I realized that I had like heat stroke for the first time. Like
Oh wow.
I couldn't formulate sentences in a coherent way. My wife was very worried about me, and so I just needed to
Jesus,
like
yeah.
cool down and get back to normal. But that made me realize how fast that can happen. So whenever I
Yes.
see like, tourists that are doing trails without water and realizing how dangerous that is, because in 1 hour you can go from feeling fine, good enough to
Yeah.
go for a run, to not even being coherent enough to talk.
Jesus, yeah, that sounds very harsh. Yeah, I think I had heat strokes when I was smaller, but
Oh
not
wow.
at that level. Yeah, it's dangerous stuff. I mean, it can get like really, really dangerous if Uh, but it's
Yeah.
good that autumn finally, Halloween approaching. Yeah, I'm wondering when we can actually like do the Halloween stuff when it's not too early, maybe beginning of October. But mm, yeah, great.
well, well, let's see. So last week we talked about we did like the mind map of the different stats.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think would be the best thing for this week?
Well, I think we could show people the survey, the 3 question survey we've been preparing, and basically we could talk about what we hope to get from it, and maybe then we can jump in our stats, and based on the mind map, um, maybe see what we've been doing right and what we've been doing wrong, and or not like what we've been doing wrong, but maybe like with that knowledge see how else we should structure it, because we're at the structuring part. I guess that's why we're like still like doing this research. We could be shipping like what we know are good stats, but I think the idea is for us to take like a little bit of extra time and really really think like deeply what about what stats are, and in what form would it be best to ship them to readers so they can make the most out of them.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. So maybe I updated it like really recently. I'm curious. Maybe you could like go on the link and maybe share your screen and tell me what you think about or like walk people through the questions.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Or
So,
yeah, let me check if I actually like updated it. So to give people like a bit of background, uh, this is just 3 questions. I'm I initially made it like way longer, and it involved like ranking stats and asking people from this list what are your favorite stats. But Adam was like very on point, pointing out that I think right now we're mostly looking for more open-ended answers. So not like this is what we want to deliver you, pick from this list, but more like like blue sky, thinking about it blue sky kind of way, like any solution possible. What would you think would help you the most?
yeah, I think my biggest hope with the survey is that at the end of it, after evaluating responses from readers, we know what problems they want solved by stats. So we want to know like not like they want stats about what how many books they've read, but like I want to know uh, I want to be able to know how many books I'm going to read this year based on my past years, and to know whether or not that's likely or not. You know, more insights like that are like what questions people have about their stats. So
Yeah.
yeah, these are the questions right now. What stats are you most interested in when it comes to your reading? So yeah, so let's see. With that context that I just provided, I'm wondering even about like this one because it is open ended. I do like that where it's kind of like curiosity. I guess this is starting broad. Like most people don't think
Yeah.
about things in problems and solutions. They think about things in like what's flashy and going to be exciting for them to see. So I think this is still a good start, and then we get deeper as the questions go.
Yeah, even if I mean, they might not have like any idea at this point,
Yeah,
but this is like kickstarting. Okay, oh, these people want something from me. Let me get my brain into like that mode where I'm thinking about what do I actually want. I've actually I've tried to answer this, and it's very interesting that we're working on stat. It was hard for me to answer anything like other than how is my reading going, like pages read per day per week, and how am I faring compared to others on the network. I think those would be like top 2. uh, and
Yeah.
stuff about notes. I'd want to, have some idea into what books sparked the most, note taking, what books sparked the most activity on that side. So I guess like it's like just these three for me. Of course, I'd love to like see all others, but uh here we go. Yeah,
Yeah. I wrote for what stats are you most interested in when it comes to your reading? I wrote books per month, pages per month, top genres, people I've referred, top books I've referred, and kind of a more
that's
general level, like how did my last month go? Am I on track with my goals?
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
cool. So yeah, the second question: what stats would you be most excited to share with your friends and/or followers? And
Yeah.
this is kind of one of our goals with stats is to make them more shareable, to get them to the point where you're so excited to look at your stats that it provides enough value for you that you're curious to even like share them and get responses from people about them, which I think is like it's taking it to another level where it's not just useful to you, but it's useful in showing off your personality and your interests in a way that maybe you wouldn't be able to do if you were just writing a note on Facebook or a note on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, this one's very like on point. This is like if the first one was what, this is like mm, if you would share something, like what level would have to be above so you could share it. And I guess this is like not only about social sharing, which some people might be very wary of. I mean, I'm not like posting my like month in review on Instagram, although like there are lots of people doing that. But maybe it's something you'd want to share with your friends, or I don't know, something to boast. Maybe, I mean, that's fair game. I mean, I wouldn't like, yeah, this is one of the questions we're probably going to talk about today. That GitHub contributions chart that everyone keeps sharing on Twitter. We'd have that for reading, and it could be nice to, give yourself a confidence boost by sharing like what your chart is throughout the a month or a year. That would be like really neat to encourage you to, I guess, read more or compare with others. I guess it could be like if like I have someone tracking their reading on hardcover, I'd be curious to know uh, what their stats are, and I'd probably like share mine just to get an answer. Like, yeah, look at this. This is my snapshot. What's your snapshot?
It makes me think uh like for
Mm,
the tally form that you've created right
yeah,
now, it's like three questions each with its own page, right?
yeah.
What if on this page for page 2 we had another question which was like how often would you want to share? And the
Mm,
options are like um never, you know, weekly, monthly,
exactly.
yearly. And then we can
Mm-hmm.
really understand like how often people are even thinking about like the idea of sharing, because that might inform like what kind of things we create shareable things for. Like if everyone's saying I want to share something monthly, that kind of skews us to like really focusing on the monthly wrapped. If it's yearly, then it that makes that an even bigger focus.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good question. Let's add this in. And maybe another good one, because they don't, I mean, many people would be assuming they would share this on social. And for many people, it might be like, I would never share this on socials. But, maybe we make it clear that it's also like sharing with friends, or like if you like share your book club progress on a group, that's also sharing a stat. So if you're like 58% done with
Mhm.
a book that's on in a book club and you share it with your book club, that should also be included here, right? Because it's a stat.
Yeah. So yeah, are you thinking like what if there's a question like who would you be excited to share this with? And
Yeah,
the answers might be like no one. It's just for me,
yeah,
friends and family, people on I talk books about in book clubs and things
Yeah.
like that, and then maybe
Hmm.
like some other social media ones like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah, let's make a checkbox with all of those. So it's like easy to fill in.
Yeah, you just
So
check a couple of things that you might want to share.
yeah, yeah, I'm curious like what and where people would share it, because that also like informs how we design them and structure them.
That's true. Yeah, if everyone's sharing it in Instagram format, for instance, that would make us really prioritize the square shape as opposed to if it's on
Yeah.
TikTok, we might prioritize like a different format. I mean,
Yeah,
ideally
exactly.
we would support both, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
always going to be something that
Priorities.
is going to be a little better.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So here add to those like quick questions. Like who would you share it with and where and how often?
Yeah,
Cool. Okay. Perfect.
I think this will still be a very quick survey, even with those two, because those are just
Oh yeah.
check boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've had
for
like, yeah, we were pretty surprised how people, how much feedback some people gave us in the past surveys. So I'm guessing like some people will write a lot about stats. So yeah,
yeah.
those two extra questions, I don't think they'll intimidate anyone. So yeah, that's cool.
For this question, what stats would you be most interested or excited to share with your friends or followers? I wrote something like Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, showcasing my top reads, most popular books, underrated books,
Mm.
top genres, pages read, books listened to, and making it fun somehow by comparing it to other metrics like
Yeah.
8 days of audiobooks or like a 5-story building high of books
Oh
pages,
yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know someone mentioned in Discord that they'd love like a really like visual representation of their. It was like their want to read to read ratio in a certain
Mm-hmm.
time period. So I added 60 books to my want to read, and I read 30 books. So you'd see like that one where you suggested we'd have like a mountain next to Jules. With that ratio being pretty visual, I think yeah, something could like that could definitely work, like making it fun.
Yeah. And then the third question is, what aspect of your reading habits do you wish to understand better?
Yeah.
Which yeah, I think that's a good one. It's so broad because it's like so many, like in our last survey, we like one of the questions was about like personas and like which of these personas do you fit into? And ours were like explorer, which is like people that want to understand and like just it's kind of like they want to browse a library, they want to see what's out there and find wade through the weeds and find the book that's for them. And then there was another group which was more like social readers who want to feel that community as they're reading. It's like treating hardcover like a big book club. And then the other one was more uh, like analytic readers who are tracking what they read in order to better understand what they like, to understand the world, and they tend to hope that hardcover will help them solve that problem. So I think this question for that group is going to be very useful. And I'm really curious to see what the answers are going to be for people in the other groups.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a like you said, as a social reader versus as an explorer type of reader, or like more analytical type of reader, that's gonna be like very interesting to see that variation. And it also like brings it a bit back to the first question, but sort of I think by this point, because we've asked them to think about this, maybe they have like a better idea of what they actually want from their reading habits. It might be like, I'm curious if this is going to be like very specific to people, like I don't know, I just wish to understand in what days of the weekday I read more than others,
Mm-hmm.
or I just wish to like see if I'm reading enough diverse authors, or if I'm like challenging myself with ideas, which could be like a very like not number oriented thing, but yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm curious mostly, I think, about this one and the sharing. Yeah, they're good questions. They're all good questions.
yeah. For me, it was like the thing that
Mm.
came to mind is like how topics, genres, and themes correlate to books I enjoy and total books read.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's kind of like understanding. I think this is what that matrix chart tries to get at, where it's like genre and mood, and you're able to see your ranking. But that's not exactly a solution for this. It's more of like an attempt at a solution for this. But it's like understanding like, hey, when you read these books, you tend to read more or you tend to enjoy them more, as opposed to when you read these genres or books with these themes, you maybe don't read them as fast because you're not enjoying it, and then you rate them lower.
yeah, yeah. This is a very good one. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Ed in the chat is saying that usually for this type of survey, um, it's more. It takes more time than you usually budget because it is a survey made up of 3 questions. But because they're open ended, there's like a lot of thought that goes into them. And yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Definitely, let's not market it as a quick survey. We'll announce it as a open-ended question survey, or we'll find the wording.
Maybe
That's
like,
very true. Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a more, should we say like a 5 minute survey? Because it feels like that's kind
Yeah.
of the time limit we're going for. Like, I don't expect these questions to take longer than 5 minutes for three of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. I
But it gives
guess.
more, yeah, it gives more indication because a 3 question survey could be yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like that kind of 3 question survey. So some people like might spend way more time on it because yeah, result of us thinking about what we want with these questions might be like people like really digging into uh what their yeah, this is just my calendar in case you
Ooh,
want to schedule like one-on-one time, and this is gonna be basically me and possibly Adam, doing the long version of the survey and showing you some prototypes of the stats, but mostly like you telling us what you want to get from them. Yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, this would be like the survey we're gonna send out, probably with the hardcover report, right?
right. So I'll plan on sending it out. That's, I think, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday is when the hardcover report will go out.
Nice.
Which
Yeah, it's
I need to write, so I'll be doing that probably tomorrow.
yeah, sounds great. Yeah, I'm hoping this will bring us another level of insights into stats. Um, I was telling people in the announcement that one of the questions we're also trying to answer is reading about the numbers, and maybe this is a good angle to think about it as well, because sometimes it is about the numbers. I mean, I don't mind like seeing my progress, like, and seeing data on genres, seeing data on like social data. I'm a sucker for that, I have to admit. I mean, I like seeing if I'm a top reviewer, some author I really like. I like to see that my posts are getting interest. I mean, that's like a good thing. And it's not TikTok. It's not like, oh, people have like whatever you do on TikTok. Saw this post of me talking about books. So I think there are some readers who have like some very valid criticism into like what platforms are doing with stats. It shouldn't be like you shouldn't read for the sake of numbers. You should read for the sake of like ideas, I guess, and themes and enjoyment. But
Yeah,
numbers do come in. I mean, numbers are important if you wanna like see how you're doing, as long as they're insightful and they offer like helpful things that you know really find useful to your like either the way you read or how much you read or the things you discover. Like I guess that's like valid. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think some people will probably like there's one thing that I've seen come up time and time again on the like Goodreads subreddit is someone will make a tool that you can like download your Goodreads library and then upload it to, and they just generate some stats for it.
Yeah,
And those feel normally like there are less insights into your reading to help you like solve a question that you have, and more just like this is an interesting way of showcasing all of my data. So I feel like we're going to be doing a little bit of both of those. Some of it's just like vanity metrics that maybe get you a little more excited to read more, while some of them are more like these are vanity metrics that showcase like areas that you may identify as an area that you want to improve on. Yeah, I'll drop the um, mind map in here so we have it as well.
yeah, that's great, and I definitely agree. I was looking for Ed mentioned Cons law, and I was actually looking. I didn't know about Cons law. So Cons law is the more time you spend reporting on what you're doing, the less time you have to do anything. Yes, definitely. I mean, I guess we want to basically take. I know people are like doing stats in Notion tables. They're doing stats in CSVs, in Excels, in sheets. So I guess like offering that level of stats, but also something on top of them, like you were saying, Adam. That's kind of like vanity or very like information heavy kind of metrics, but also the story of like what you're reading, more like and a more insightful like analysis into your reading. I guess those are that's the middle ground we're trying to have with these new stats. And yeah, there's most platforms don't only care about the numbers, or they don't care about the stats at all. I think they're important. I think like they reflect uh, some things, and it's also going to be important to us to basically get all this info, so we know what to so for instance, if you add more tags, we'll know later on when to show you an author in the feed that you might not have discovered anywhere else. So that's like a good bit of information, and that's like information, that's raw info. It doesn't have to be numbers. It can be like as sensitive as uh, you know
I had a idea for this. So,
okay, well,
right now we have this big list of stats, and I think, I added all the ones that people were mentioning in the chat. A lot of the ones that people were mentioning in the chat were on there somewhere, but they weren't like refined enough. But there were a couple
yeah,
new ones. Um, so I was thinking, if essentially we want to turn this into like, a page. And so what I was thinking as kind of like an in-between step is what if we use something like either Notion or Trello, something with like a card associated with each of these. And then for each of these, we can like kind of describe out what we want for each of them. Like this is a line chart with x-axis this, y-axis this. It has this title. It has this description. These are the metrics it shows. Basically, like spec out all of this, because I have a
Mm-hmm.
feeling like trying to get from this to this, like you would be doing that all in your head if you were trying to translate it straight into a design.
Yeah, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, and we could iterate on the cards until we're both like, yeah, that sounds good. And even those cards, we could maybe like we could identify like maybe between now and the first user interview we do, we could like um, script out those, and then maybe like we could select the top five or so, and then those could be turned into actual designs, and that's what we show people um, for user interviews, as well as
Mm-hmm.
some of the cards itself. But
Yeah, that does sound good. Yeah, that sounds great, and I'm very interested in this step because it shows us like what kind of information we want from that stat. I was thinking that if the stats also work as widgets on the dashboard, and we're thinking to basically maybe have like certain levels at which we show the stats. So it can be like a small widget that just says like pages per week and it's just a chart, or it can be like a big chart and it also shows the page numbers, and you can also select like the time period. So those are like two ends of the spectrum. This is like something really simple, something that we can like integrate mostly anywhere. This is like something really complicated that has lots of data, and you can dig like deeper into it, maybe even like change the way it's shown. Maybe it's not a line chart, maybe it's like something else.
or
um,
maybe those are just two different charts rather than settings on one chart.
yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm interested in like the type of information we show, and maybe we can focus for these cards on having that basic level of info, and then seeing if we need to add more levels of complexity. Because yeah, for instance, this is a good example. Like if you want to like zoom in on that pages, pages. This is basically like pages widget, and it would show you like you have a time period. Maybe it's a month. Maybe it's like this August. That's just like ending, and you have like the pages you've read. But it also can be like minutes if you like are listening to books. It's not going to be pages. Or
well,
maybe you'd want, yeah.
yeah, I think one thing that like if I had a couple of like recommendations for this chart. I'm curious
Yeah.
to see what you think, because I think
Yeah.
like as you're describing it, there are like so many interactions that you can do.
Hmm.
So it feels
Yeah.
like it could be trying to be like multiple charts that we might end up breaking out into multiple. Um, so here's what I was thinking. Like what if like for one, every chart had some kind of title. That way like it makes it
Mm.
clear, like, and this would be like pages read per, and then maybe if this is on the if you're looking at a year stats, it's per month, and if you're looking at it like over all time, it might be pages read per year.
Yeah.
um, and then we could potentially get rid of this format pages, and then we could have, one thing I was thinking is like, what if we had two different lines where one of them is like slightly like less like emphasized, and this is like your this one's like your pages read, as in like
Hmm.
you read books that totaled that many pages. This is like your equivalent in audiobooks and all non-book things. So it's like this is pages, this is like pages equivalent.
Okay, so it would be like minutes for audiobooks, right?
It wouldn't exactly be minutes. It would be like I think we'd have a different chart that shows minutes, but
Okay.
this would be like you read 100 books, and let's say 50 of them are audio, 50 of them are um, uh, words, like
Yeah.
pages. Those, like if you use those as two different charts, they're going to be two charts that are lower, while this one would take how many pages were in those audiobooks and add them to create this line.
Okay, perfect. So this would be like the total, yeah. So maybe like you've read like pages, but you've also read over here, which might be like a week or a time period.
Yeah,
You've listened to a lot of audiobooks, so you're gonna get this chart, total chart
right.
like this.
Yeah, if
Okay,
like if 1 month you didn't read
yeah,
any books, but you had a lot of audiobooks, then
yeah,
this big line would be flat, while
yeah.
the
It could be
audiobook
like,
line would be higher.
yeah,
But it would
great,
always be higher because it's
yeah.
the two of
So
them
maybe,
together.
yeah,
Or
basically
it
you
would
didn't,
always be at least equal, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, maybe like here you didn't read. So this would be like total reading, total pages equivalent, or total, as put total reading, I guess.
Yeah. Total reading, I think.
Yeah. So if you hover it, you're gonna get this tooltip, maybe.
Yeah. And we could have like, as you hover over one of these dots, it would probably like showcase the equivalent dot. So you could,
Oh yeah, exactly.
but
So
that
you'd
would
get
be,
like, yeah,
yeah.
uh, you'd get 89 pages, and you'd read. So you read this and you listened to like a different amount of pages, like or equivalent. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, yeah, yeah, this is like a very good example of what we should be doing. It's gonna be like very interesting to have all this in a graph. And yeah, there's no other way of doing it other than starting from that info, because yeah, you're right. Maybe, I mean, most people like listen and read, but yeah, um
Yeah. I think, I like the idea that, you know, we could probably make out a card that describes this entire thing. And then I guess one of the things we'll have to make sure we mention when we're like detailing each of these is like, I guess at that phase we can determine which ones are like supporter um, things and which ones are for everyone. And because yeah, it's like for this, I'm not sure like what the supporter feature here would be. I think you said like average like pages
yeah.
per would be like the potential like supporter one.
Yeah, I just put that there. I mean, average
Hmm.
is probably gonna like have four for everyone. I just wanted to put like some how we do like do supporter features in the design. So we
Hmm.
gotta like incentivize people to uh, subscribe to the supporter plan through stats, because there are some stats that are gonna be like very aimed at people who read a lot and get a lot of hardcover. So those are generally gonna be supported features. Yeah, I guess after we analyze the mind map and figure out, what widgets we do for everyone, I think that's gonna be yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
a good step to do that at. And I'm
Yeah.
also wondering, because this is very like info heavy. You're probably not gonna share this on Instagram. This is like more like what you'd want as your information. You'd look at this chart and see, okay, so between 7th and 14th of June, I really slumped on my audiobooks. I wonder why that is. Oh, I was like visiting some relatives, and I forgot my headphones at home. So that's gonna
Hmm.
be like that's gonna be interesting, I guess, because this is like the point of this, to basically see like what your progress is. You'd be
It
looking at this. Yeah.
and that makes me think like, if someone's scrolling and they get to one of these and they like select an area and taking a screenshot, it's not going to have anything about hardcover or their username on it. So we're like right now we're kind of assuming that they're going to use the share button to generate that
Hmm.
image. but like it feels overwhelming if we were to include like their avatar and username on every single one of these. It's going to get very repetitive.
Yeah, we could do like a header for the stats, sorry, and we could have that. But what I've seen actually like people like sharing their lists on Instagram this way, and they mostly like mention hardcover without having the logo. So I'm definitely like
Mm.
okay with not having the logo on everything unless they want to share it through like the generated image that we're gonna have. I think yeah, maybe some people are gonna want to generate it with the header, so maybe we could make like we do have the profile header, and if we make it sticky, it could be on top for like every stat, or we could make like some kind of way that you'd have your username on it. The
Yeah.
logo, I mean, people are gonna mention hardcover. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, their username is basically,
Or
this is, yeah,
I have another option that's kind of, it changes how we're thinking about sharing, but it would be so much easier to do. Uh,
yeah.
so the
Let's see.
idea is like when you're using the share thing to create like a shareable version of any of these, it like when you click like share on this, instead of having us generate an image with some separate area, all it does is like it adds a header and a footer to this section with your username, and then you take a screenshot of that and you share it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
Because
that's
that would,
like, yeah,
and then that would be so much easier to build because we wouldn't have to build each of these twice, once on stats and once as a static image. Because that's
yeah.
probably the area that I'm most concerned with from a time perspective.
Okay, yeah. Actually, that's how I was thinking it could like work. I was wondering, if I mean these are gonna be responsive anyway. So basically, like we could set the width, and if you're on mobile, you're probably gonna like need um, smaller width. Uh,
Mm.
but if you're screenshotting them on mobile, yeah, we could just like make the header appear. So you're saying basically like add some extra info if you click the share button,
Yeah,
so you can screenshot it.
yeah. So it might like add your like a header with your username and your avatar, and maybe at the bottom like some small thing that says like stats from hardcover dot
Yeah, I
app
mean,
slash username.
yeah, let's do that. Yeah, yeah, I love that because then I was thinking, what if you want to share a different format, but you can like if you're on mobile, you just share that, and if you're on desktop, you can just resize the browser, and if you want a square image, heck, you're gonna get a square image.
Yeah, and we can like when you say square here, like or when you share a widget on desktop, we can change the format to be a square, and then when you screenshot it, it's already a square.
If we could do that, definitely. I mean, yeah, we could animate it like we animate, the list when you go
Mm,
from table view to. Yeah, that sounds
yeah,
good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. At least we got that solved. That's yeah.
I think it'll still make sense for us to generate some images that are shareable, like maybe like one overall for your stats or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah,
thinking the monthly review, that's an image that we're definitely gonna we I mean, I was thinking it could have a fixed format, and maybe because next time we're gonna talk about stats again, maybe we could have a deep dive into your monthly wrap up, because the monthly wrap up would be like what we're building now, but basically prioritizing some of the most important stats. And I guess what we have to decide for your monthly wrap up is first, what stats are the most important so we can feature there. It's probably going to be like a square fixed image with like widgets, like representing the most important stats. And I guess another question would be like, are we going to let people like choose and personalize these widgets?
yeah.
That
Maybe for that one
Yeah,
we and for V1 maybe we don't allow that. Maybe we just
yeah,
like we create one standard format that has a square version and like a high like
totally, yeah,
yeah tall version, and we we just have like specific stats that show, and then whatever your time period is you're looking at, we can generate stats for that period with that image. So if you're looking at for a month, you get monthly stats. If you're looking at for a year, you get yearly stats. If you're looking at for January to March, you get January to March stats.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, that sounds good. And I think we're almost at time here. Like another hour spent talking about stats. It's a big project, but it's definitely gonna. Okay.
I
Yeah.
I accidentally hit stop recording instead of stop sharing. So
Classic.
yeah,
Here we
we'll
go.
uh, I'll try to stitch these videos together before I release them.
A classic one. Yeah, that's perfect. Well, we're just wrapping up. Yeah, saying that next time we'll probably talk about stats again. And yeah, that it's a big project, but it's definitely gonna be worth it. In the end, it's probably gonna be, very, very, very exciting to see these stats. But yeah,
Yeah,
uh, let's
yeah.
focus on getting there.
Yeah. For would you be up for me starting the doc for these just like as a shared Notion table or something like that?
Yeah, let's go for it. I mean, even Google Docs would work with just like specking out, or like, yeah, Notion maybe, or something. Yeah, whatever you think is
Yeah.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever works.
One thing I do like about Notion is you can like define all the different fields, and then you could say like, it has this is the title, this is the thing. So it makes it into like a full table, so we can make sure we have
Okay, the card.
every
Okay, yeah,
every
definitely.
attribute.
Yeah, let's do Notion then. Yeah, that sounds great. Well,
Cool.
perfect. Yeah, this has been another product chat. Thanks everyone for bearing with us and listening to all the deep diving we've been doing on stats. You're probably gonna hear like a few more episodes of that until we like are totally sure we're gonna nail it. But yeah, I guess see you next week.
Cool. See you next week.
Yeah, see you everyone next week. Thanks. Bye bye.